Every dollar you touch is alive. It listens. It obeys. And one sentence spoken in faith can make it multiply without limit. Most people speak words of loss over their money. I never have enough. It goes too quickly. And so their money flees. But when you learn the sentence of divine increase, money returns to you in multiplied form. Perhaps you have worked hard, budgeted carefully, and still felt the purse grow thin. Perhaps you have spoken in frustration, "It's never enough," and watched lack answer back. That is no accident. Every careless word writes a law upon your affairs. People think money multiplies through effort alone. But without the right word, effort breeds exhaustion, not abundance. This teaching is unique because it does not rely on toil or chance. It rests on the spoken word, the same law Christ declared. By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. In this message, I will reveal the exact sentence that multiplies money under grace. I will show you how to bless your purse so that it can never empty, how to break the curse of careless words, and how to turn every transaction into a stream of increase. I will share stories of those who spoke this word and saw debts dissolve, opportunities appear, and abundance rush in from unexpected channels. And before we finish, you will hold in your mouth the same spiritual sword that has opened vaults of wealth for thousands. Stay with me, for what begins as one sentence will open into a river of supply you cannot contain. Now here's something most people completely miss, and it's the reason their money disappears as fast as it comes. Money hears you. Every dollar you touch is obedient to your word. Your purse, your wallet, your bank account, your coins in the drawer. They are all servants of the tongue. By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. If you say, "I never have enough," then the law carries out your decree and makes it so. If you declare, "My money multiplies daily," the same law obeys and multiplies it before your very eyes. You cannot escape it. Words are laws in action. Why does this matter so much? Because most people speak curses over their money without even knowing it. They complain, they worry, they grumble, they say, "It's gone already, it doesn't last, money slips through my fingers." They do not realize they are commanding lack. Every negative statement about money is a decree written on the subconscious, and the subconscious does not argue, it does not reason, it only obeys. That's why some toil and labor endlessly and yet live in lack, not because supply isn't there, but because their words are shutting the door against it. Let me paint you a picture. I knew a woman who constantly said she was tired of her possessions. She would sigh and declare, "I'm sick and tired of things. I wish I lived in a trunk." She said it over and over until the words became her law. Do you know what happened? Years later, she lost her home, her fortune, and everything she had. She ended up exactly where her tongue had sent her, living out of a trunk. The subconscious has no sense of humor. It takes every word at face value and builds your life upon it. Now, I want you to feel the weight of this truth. Words are seeds. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot plant thorns and expect figs. When you speak lack, you plant lack. When you speak abundance, you plant abundance. And the harvest never fails to match the seed. So ask yourself, what kind of seed are you sowing with your daily words about money? Are you planting increase, or are you planting decrease? Imagine you're a farmer standing in a wide field. In one hand you hold seeds of gold, and in the other you hold seeds of dust. Every time you open your mouth, you scatter seeds. If you scatter dust, the field fills with barrenness. If you scatter gold, the field fills with a harvest of wealth. You are farming with your words every hour of every day. That's why I tell you, train your tongue as you would train your hand not to touch fire. Stop speaking death over your purse. Stop rehearsing lack with idle talk. Speak life. Speak multiplication. Speak blessing. Your money is listening. Now, some of you may say, "Florence, do you mean every careless word I speak about money becomes law?" And my answer is yes. Every word. The subconscious records like a phonograph, without humor, without filter, without pause. If you keep saying, "I'm always broke," you write a law of poverty upon your affairs. If you keep declaring, "I'm blessed, money multiplies wherever I go," you write a law of supply. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot plant weeds and gold at the same time and expect only gold to grow. So here is the shift you must make. Recognize that your words are decrees, not chatter. Every statement about your finances is a command to the universe. If you want to change your bank balance, you must first change your tongue. And when you do, the harvest will astonish you. Here is what I have observed over and over again in the lives of men and women who come to me desperate for change. It is not some great act of wickedness that has bound them. It is not some visible enemy. It is not even the lack of opportunity or the cruelty of the world. No, it is something far smaller and far more subtle, and yet it holds them in chains. It is their own careless speech. The tongue, left unguarded, becomes a whip that lashes its master, and most people do not know that their own words are the jailers keeping them in bondage. They laugh, they joke, they speak thoughtlessly, and they imagine that their words are nothing but noise in the air. But I tell you, the subconscious mind records every word as if it were sacred decree, and it obeys with unfailing accuracy. It has no humor. It does not wink. It does not say, "He was only joking," or "She did not really mean it." It takes the words and builds them into flesh and bone, into dollars and debts, into health or into sickness, into joy or into despair. And so I say to you plainly, the very jokes you laugh at may one day become the tragedies you weep over. I once knew a woman who had more than enough to live comfortably, and yet she constantly amused herself and her friends by saying, "I am only getting ready for the poorhouse." She said it lightly. She said it with a smile. She said it as if the words meant nothing, as if they vanished into the air. But her subconscious was not smiling. It took those words as orders and wrote them deep upon the fabric of her life. And within a few short years, that very woman who laughed about the poorhouse found herself destitute, dependent, and exactly where her words had decreed she should be. Another woman grew weary of managing her home and possessions, and she repeatedly sighed, "I am sick of things. I wish I lived in a trunk." And do you know where she ended up? Living out of a trunk, after her fortune and her home were gone. These are not accidents. These are not coincidences. These are the perfect outworking of careless speech. Now you may say to me, "But Florence, surely one stray word here and there cannot bring such calamity. Surely God is more merciful than that." And I answer you, it is not God who is merciless. It is law that is merciless. Just as the law of gravity does not suspend itself because a man is ignorant of its working, so the law of the spoken word does not suspend itself because a man is careless with his tongue. When you understand this, you stop playing with words as if they were toys, and you begin to wield them as the mighty sword they are. Every word must be weighed, every word must be chosen, every word must be released as if it were a seed carrying your destiny, because in truth it is. This is why I instruct my students to take an axe to the old records of lack and to smash them utterly with the spoken word of truth. You must speak destruction to the lies you have spoken over yourself. Say it aloud with conviction. I now smash and demolish every false record of lack in my subconscious mind. They return to the dust of nothingness, for they came from vain imaginings. I now write my perfect records through the Christ within me. Records of wealth, records of abundance, records of endless supply. Speak it until you feel it vibrate through you, until you know that the old curses have been dissolved and the new decree has been set in place. Your word is your wand, and you must wave it over every condition you wish to change. And perhaps you ask me, "But how do I know if my words have cursed me? How do I know what old records I must smash?" It is very simple. Look at your life. Your life is nothing but your words made visible. If you see lack, then somewhere you have spoken lack. If you see debts piling higher than your supply, then somewhere you have decreed poverty. If you see struggle without end, then somewhere your tongue has sown struggle into the soil of your affairs. Do not despair when you see it. Do not waste time in regret. Simply begin to reverse it with the new word, the word of blessing, the multiplying word. For the law works both ways. The same tongue that curses can bless. The same law that carried out words of loss will carry out words of increase. The moment you change the seed, you change the harvest. So hear me. Stop saying, I am broke. Stop saying, money flies from me. Stop saying, I can never get ahead. These are spells, and they bind you. Instead, declare with power, God is my unfailing supply. My purse can never be depleted. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. Hold this word. Speak it morning and night. Let it saturate the subconscious until it erases the old lies. Then you will see the miracle of money multiplying where once it vanished. This is why I say to you, your greatest enemy is not your circumstances, not the economy, not your employer, not your past. Your greatest enemy is your careless tongue, and your greatest ally, your greatest miracle worker, your greatest treasure, is also your tongue when you use it under divine law. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Blessing and cursing are in the power of the tongue. Poverty and wealth are in the power of the tongue. Train it, guard it, discipline it, and then command it to speak only life, only abundance, only multiplication. When you do, you will no longer fear money leaving your hands, for you will know with certainty that every dollar you touch is under divine command to return multiplied. Now that you see the danger of careless words, let me reveal to you the power of the word rightly spoken, the word that blesses, the word that multiplies. For as surely as the tongue can curse, the tongue can redeem, and as surely as your words may have sown lack, your words can sow abundance that knows no end. And here is the sentence, the affirmation of power, the law of multiplication spoken through the lips of faith. I bless this purse, and I see it crammed, jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. Say it with me now, slowly, deliberately, as if engraving it upon the very fabric of your being. I bless this purse. I see it crammed, jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. Why is this affirmation so powerful? Because it paints a vivid picture that your subconscious cannot resist. The words crammed, jammed carry with them an image of overflowing abundance, so strong, so colorful, so undeniable, that the subconscious takes hold of it and brings it into form. Never use pale words when you would call forth a miracle. Use words that paint, words that blaze, words that ignite the imagination. When you declare that your purse is crammed, jammed with money, you cannot help but feel it heavy in your hands, stuffed with bills, alive with increase. And the subconscious mind, being simple power without direction, takes that picture and says, "It is so." Let me give you proof, for I never speak theory, only law and demonstration. A woman once came to me with just $2 in her purse. She was weary, discouraged, and ready to give up. I said to her, "We bless this purse and know it to be the magic purse of the Spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. I see it crammed, jammed with money, bulging with abundance." At first she looked at me with astonishment, for she thought I was mocking her small sum, but I was not mocking, I was multiplying. And she caught the vision. She began to feel her purse heavy with money. She spoke the word faithfully, with fearless faith. And not long after, she received a gift of $6,000. 6,000, from 2 to 6,000 under grace. Do you see how quickly Spirit multiplies when man speaks the word with conviction? This is the law. Every time you bless your money, it increases. Every time you curse your money, it decreases. Most people have been cursing their money all their lives, saying, "There is never enough. It flies, it slips away." And so it has fled. But bless your purse, bless your wallet, bless your bank account, bless your bills, and watch how quickly the law of multiplication sets to work. The world will call it chance, coincidence, or good fortune, but you will know the truth. You spoke the word, and the word went forth and accomplished that whereunto it was sent. Now, let me ask you plainly, do you treat your purse as if it were alive? Do you bless it, or do you complain over it? Do you look at your wallet and sigh, "So little, so empty," or do you lay your hand upon it and declare, "You are blessed, you are crammed, you are jammed with money, you can never be depleted"? I tell you, your purse listens to you. Your bank account listens to you. Your very coins in your pocket listen to you. And the law of obedience makes them return to you exactly what you have commanded. So I charge you from this day forward, never open your purse without blessing it. Never spend a dollar without speaking multiplication over it. Say aloud, "This dollar returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways." Say it with joy. Say it with expectation. Say it as a farmer blesses the seed he drops into the soil, knowing with certainty that harvest must come. And your harvest shall be sure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And if you doubt, remember the woman with $2 who spoke her purse into thousands. Remember that words are seeds, and that the subconscious is the soil which never refuses a seed, but grows it faithfully. Plant the seed of multiplication, and you will reap the harvest of abundance. Stop planting weeds of lack, and you will stop harvesting want. The choice is yours, and the choice is made by the words you speak. Here is a truth so simple that men stumble over it, and yet so powerful that it has fed multitudes, dissolved debts, and opened vaults of supply. Whatever you bless multiplies. Whatever you curse withers. This is the law of multiplication, and it is the same law that Christ revealed when he took the loaves and fishes, lifted them to heaven, gave thanks, blessed them, and fed 5,000 men besides women and children with food left over. It was not a miracle in the sense of something unnatural. It was the perfect working of divine law. He blessed the little, and the little became much. He gave thanks for what appeared insufficient, and thanksgiving turned insufficiency into abundance. This is not history alone. This is law, and the same law is in your mouth today. Why do I say this matters? Because most people live as if cursing multiplies and blessing diminishes. They complain, "I only have this small amount, it will never be enough," and then they watch it shrink. They grumble, "This money will be gone before the week is over," and then they are astonished when it disappears. They look at their paycheck and sigh, "It is too small, it can never meet my needs," and then they wonder why lack dogs them month after month. But the truth is the reverse. Whatever you bless multiplies, and whatever you curse withers. When you complain over your money, you are cursing your loaves and fishes, and you are guaranteeing that there will not be enough. But when you give thanks, when you bless, when you speak the multiplying word, the invisible law begins its work, and your supply is increased from unexpected places. Let me give you an illustration that has been told and retold because it is so striking. A woman came to me with just $8 in her possession. $8 was all that stood between her and despair. Reason said, "Hold on to it. Be careful. Be afraid. There is nothing ahead but poverty." But I said to her, "We will bless the $8 and multiply it, for Christ has shown us that the power to bless and multiply is given to every man." Speak these words. Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance. I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. And never doubt. hold fast to the vision. She obeyed, and soon after, intuition led her to visit a friend of the family. Through that connection, she received thousands of dollars in the most unexpected way. Her $8, blessed and spoken over, had multiplied into a harvest she could never have calculated. Do you see the contrast? $8 cursed with fear and complaint would have dwindled into nothing. $8 blessed with faith and thanksgiving became thousands. The law of multiplication is exact, unfailing, unchanging. It is not chance, it is not coincidence, it is not luck, it is law. Every dollar you bless returns to you multiplied. Every dollar you curse flees from you. It is as sure as sowing and reaping, as certain as day following night. Now I must warn you, fear will try to creep in, and fear is nothing but faith inverted. Fear is faith in evil instead of good. Fear says, my money will run out. Faith says, my money multiplies under grace. Fear says, I cannot pay this bill. Faith says, this bill is already paid in full, and money returns multiplied. Fear is the only enemy, for fear arrests the multiplication. Fear paralyzes the seed. Fear cancels the blessing. That is why Christ said so often, be not afraid, only believe. He knew that fear and faith cannot dwell together. You must cast out fear as you would cast out a thief, for fear robs you of your harvest. So here is the lesson. Bless what little you have, and it will become much. Stop looking at the smallness of your purse, stop rehearsing the insufficiency of your bank account, and start blessing them as full, overflowing, abundant. Speak the word of multiplication, give thanks in advance, and then watch as channels of supply open that you could never have imagined. You will find money coming through unexpected people, unexpected gifts, unexpected opportunities, unexpected channels, for Spirit has ways you know not of. The law of multiplication does not ask you to figure out the how. It only asks you to bless, to give thanks, to speak increase, and to expect the harvest. Remember this always. Whatever you bless, multiplies. Whatever you curse, withers. You hold the power of life and death, abundance and lack, wealth and poverty in your tongue. Bless your purse, bless your dollars, bless your bills, bless your work, bless your supply, and the law will multiply it beyond measure. Now, here is where so many stumble. They may bless their purse in the morning, they may declare abundance over their wallet, they may speak the multiplying word when they are quiet at home, but the moment they step into the marketplace, the moment they open their purse to spend, they forget. They sigh, they groan, they say, there goes my money, and with those few words they cancel the blessing they had spoken earlier. And then they wonder why multiplication is delayed, why harvest is slow, why supply seems uncertain. The law of the spoken word does not rest only in your prayer closet. It does not end at the threshold of your home. It follows you into every store, every bank, every exchange, every transaction. The law is alive at the very moment you release money into the world, and it waits to hear what you will decree over that act. Think of it this way. Every dollar you spend is a seed, and every seed carries within it the power to multiply after its kind. A farmer does not drop seed into the earth with despair, saying, I will never see this again. He does not throw it away with bitterness, declaring, it is gone forever. No, he plants it with expectation, with blessing, with thanksgiving, knowing with certainty that the earth will yield the harvest. So why do you, when you release money, act as though it is lost? Why do you sigh as though you will never see it again? Why do you treat every purchase as a diminishment instead of a sowing? Begin today to reverse this. Each time you release a dollar, bless it. Say aloud, every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. Send it out as a servant, not as a deserter. Release it as a seed, not as a loss. I knew a man who feared every bill he paid. He would write the check with dread, muttering, there goes my money. and he wondered why he always lived in scarcity. Another, by contrast, spoke blessing over every bill. He would say, "I rejoice to pay this, for it means supply is flowing through me. This money returns multiplied, under grace." And do you know what happened? His supply increased, opportunities came, gifts arrived, and he lived in constant circulation of wealth. The difference was not in their work, not in their talents, not in their luck. The difference was in the word they spoke over every transaction. This is why I tell you, never curse your bills, never curse your purchases, never curse the flow of money leaving your hands. Each one is a seed, and the seed will answer to your words. If you bless it, it returns as harvest. If you curse it, it withers and is lost. The law is exact. So let this become your habit. When you pay a bill, say aloud, "I bless this bill. I rejoice that it is paid in full. This money returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways." When you purchase something, say, "I bless this transaction. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied." When you give to another, say, "I bless this gift. It returns multiplied." In this way, every dollar that leaves your hand is under divine command to return, not as one, but as many. And I assure you, the change will be astonishing. What once felt like loss will begin to feel like sowing. What once felt like fear will become joy. You will begin to see that you are never poorer for spending. You are richer, for every transaction has become a channel of increase. You will no longer resent the flow of money out, for you will know with certainty that it cannot help but return multiplied. So, I say it again, speak to every transaction. Treat every dollar as a seed. Bless it as it goes out, and welcome it as it returns multiplied. And soon you will live in the continual rhythm of divine circulation, where money is never lost, only multiplied under grace. Now, let me tell you what cancels the law faster than anything else. It is not lack of education, it is not lack of opportunity, it is not the condition of the markets or the rise and fall of the world's economy. It is fear. Fear is the great thief of mankind. Fear is inverted faith, faith turned upside down. Faith is seeing the invisible good and rejoicing before it appears. Fear is seeing the invisible evil and trembling before it appears. Faith says, "All is well, my supply is sure, my purse is blessed, my money multiplies." Fear says, "I will not have enough, my money will run out, something terrible is coming." And as surely as faith manifests the good, fear manifests the evil. The law is impartial. It will carry out the picture you hold, whether it is a picture of abundance or a picture of lack. Why is this important? Because you may be speaking the multiplying word, you may be declaring, "My purse is crammed and jammed with money." But if, beneath your words, your heart trembles with fear, you are planting two seeds at once. And do you know what happens when you plant both wheat and weeds in the same field? The weeds choke the wheat. Fear chokes faith. Fear cancels the harvest. That is why I say to you with such urgency, cast out fear as you would cast out a thief in the night, for it robs you of the very supply you have called forth. I once knew a man who lived in terror of a rare disease. It was so rare that few doctors had ever seen it, and yet he read about it, he imagined it, he pictured it day and night, until finally his body manifested it. He died, not of the disease itself, but of the fear that created it. Fear is creative, just as faith is creative. Fear is a magnet, just as faith is a magnet. Fear draws to you the very thing you dread. "The thing I feared," said Job, "is come upon me." The subconscious knows no difference between what you love and what you fear. It only knows the picture impressed upon it. And when you fear poverty, you are impressing poverty. When you fear lack, you are commanding lack. Do you see the seriousness of this? Fear of lack is nothing but faith in lack. Fear of failure is nothing but faith in failure. Fear of losing money is nothing but faith in losing money. And the law obeys just the same. That is why Christ said, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?" He knew that fear was faith misdirected, faith wasted, faith in the wrong kingdom. And he knew that the cure was simple: turn fear into faith. Substitute the picture of evil with the picture of good. Replace the trembling of doubt with the rejoicing of trust. Say, "God is my supply, I cannot lack. My purse is blessed, my money multiplies daily under grace." Keep saying it until fear is dissolved and faith stands unshaken. Now, some may say to me, "Florence, I cannot help feeling afraid. The bills are due, the money is low, the pressure is great." And I reply, you cannot afford fear. You cannot afford to nurse it. You cannot afford to rehearse it. You cannot afford to confess it. You must speak against it with every breath. You must declare, "I fear nothing, for God is my supply. I fear nothing, for my good is secure. I fear nothing, for abundance is mine by divine right." Speak it even while you tremble, and soon the trembling will cease. Fear will flee before the word of faith, for the two cannot dwell together. So remember this: fear is not harmless, fear is not idle, fear is not just a feeling. Fear is inverted faith, and it creates as surely as faith creates. Guard your thoughts, guard your words, guard your imagination, and refuse to let fear write its record upon your affairs. The harvest of fear is always lack, and the harvest of faith is always abundance. Choose this day whom you will serve. Will you serve fear, or will you serve faith? Will you believe in lack, or will you believe in supply? The law will carry out whichever you choose, for it is exact and impartial. Now that you understand fear is nothing but faith turned upside down, let me tell you the antidote, the remedy, the sure cure for every fearful picture that rises before you. The law of the universe is substitution. You cannot leave a void. You cannot simply tear down fear and leave the space empty, for nature abhors a vacuum. If you tear out weeds from the garden and plant nothing, soon weeds will grow again. If you cast out fear from your consciousness and put nothing in its place, fear will return. So what must you do? You must substitute. You must replace the picture of lack with the picture of abundance. You must replace the trembling of fear with the calm of faith. You must replace the anxious word with the multiplying word. And when you do, the old record is erased and the new one takes its place. I recall a woman who came to me broken-hearted because of a man she desired. She begged me to speak the word that he, and he alone, would be hers. But I told her plainly, that would be a violation of spiritual law. I cannot force the will of another, but I will speak the word that the right man, the divine selection, the one who belongs to you by divine right, comes quickly into your life. And if this man is he, you cannot lose him. If he is not, you will receive his perfect equivalent. She consented, though reluctantly. For a time, she saw the man often, but he remained indifferent. Then one day she came to me and said, "For some reason, he no longer seems so wonderful to me." And not long after, she met another man who said she was his ideal, who adored her, who spoke every word she had longed to hear. She soon returned his affection, and the first man faded entirely from her heart. The wrong picture had been replaced by the right one. She had substituted fear and desire for faith and truth, and her life blossomed in harmony. Do you see the lesson? You may be clinging in fear to something that is not yours, and all the while divine law is waiting to give you something far better. You may be picturing lack, picturing failure, picturing loss, and all the while Spirit is waiting to substitute abundance, success, and gain. But Spirit cannot substitute unless you release the false picture. You must say, "I let go of the appearance of lack, and I receive abundance. I let go of fear, and I receive faith. I let go of this wrong condition, and I receive the perfect divine equivalent." And when you speak it, when you hold to it, the old picture fades and the new one takes form. Let me give you the exact words, for words are the tools by which substitution is accomplished. Say, God is my supply, unfailing, immediate, and endless. My purse is blessed and multiplies daily. Every day, in every way, I grow richer and richer under grace. Speak it morning and night. Speak it when fear creeps in. Speak it when bills arrive. Speak it when your heart trembles, and the fearful picture will dissolve as surely as mist before the sun. The subconscious mind, obedient and literal, will erase the old image of want and inscribe the new image of plenty. And soon your affairs will outpicture the new record you have written. Do not be discouraged if fear returns again and again. Remember, weeds do not vanish at the first pulling. You may have to speak the new word 100 times, 1,000 times, until it takes root and dominates the soil of your mind. Every time fear whispers, answer it aloud with faith. Every time lack presents itself, declare abundance. Every time doubt shakes you, affirm certainty. This is the law of substitution, and it never fails when practiced faithfully. So I ask you now, what picture are you holding that needs to be replaced? Is it the fear of bills piling up? Replace it with the picture of bills paid in full and money multiplied. Is it the fear of failure? Replace it with the picture of success, the vision of doors opening, the sense of triumph. Is it the fear of poverty? Replace it with the image of your purse overflowing, your home furnished, your table spread with good things. Whatever picture haunts you, substitute it with its divine opposite. This is how you banish fear, not by fighting it, not by wrestling it, but by replacing it with faith until fear has no place to return. And when you have mastered substitution, you will live unafraid. You will know that whatever false picture rises, you can erase it and replace it at once. You will know that every fear is only inverted faith, waiting to be turned upright. You will know that every shadow is only the absence of light, waiting to be filled with truth. And you will walk in dominion, blessing your purse, speaking multiplication, and living in abundance. Now let me tell you of a woman who came to me on a hot summer's day, worn down, discouraged, and trembling under the shadow of lack. She told me she had only $8 left in the world. $8. And in her mind, those bills were the last flicker before the darkness of poverty swallowed her whole. Her reasoning mind cried out, "There is no way forward, no way of supply, no door open." But the reasoning mind is not the voice of spirit. And I said to her, "Good. We shall bless the $8 and multiply them as Christ multiplied the loaves and the fishes, for the same power is given to you and every man who will dare to speak the word in faith." At first, she stared at me, half in disbelief. To her, $8 was nothing, too little to meet her needs, too little to hope in, too little to make a dent against the mountain of demands before her. But I spoke to her with the authority of law. Do not despise the day of small things. Every dollar is a seed, and the seed grows by blessing, not by complaint. We bless this money now. Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance for this woman. She is an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to her by divine right. Her purse is blessed and multiplies daily under grace. And I instructed her to repeat it continually until her heart caught fire with faith. Then I asked her, "Have you a hunch, an intuition to do anything?" For intuition is God's direction, the unerring guide that never misleads. She paused and said, "I feel as though I ought to return home, though I have just enough money left for car fare, and my home is in a city far away, a place of lack and limitation." The reasoning mind said, "Stay here and try to make money, for only here can opportunity be found." But I said, "Never violate a hunch. If Spirit tells you to go, go, for your supply will meet you on the way." And she obeyed. What followed was nothing short of miraculous, though to those who know the law, it was simply inevitable. Upon her return home, she visited a woman she knew casually, and through that meeting she was reintroduced to an old family friend. That friend became the channel through which thousands of dollars poured into her life. Her lack dissolved, her supply overflowed, and she became a living testimony of what happens when you bless the little, obey intuition, and speak the word of multiplication. Do you see it? She came with $8 and despair. She left with faith and a multiplying word, and soon after, she stood with thousands. The $8 were never the issue. The lack was never the problem. The only obstacle was fear and the false picture of limitation. When she blessed the 8, when she obeyed the hunch, when she spoke the multiplying word, the law went to work, and her demonstration came swiftly. Now I ask you, how many of you hold in your hand $8 today? Perhaps not literally, but in spirit. Perhaps you look at your bank account and see a small sum and call it hopeless. Perhaps you look at your work, your business, your resources, and sigh that they are too small to bring increase. But I tell you, that smallness is your loaves and fishes. That smallness is your $8. Bless it, and it will multiply. Curse it, and it will vanish. Do not wait for much before you bless. Bless the little, and the little becomes much. Bless what you hold now, however small, and speak. This multiplies. This cannot be depleted. This returns to me multiplied, under grace. And then expect the unexpected, for Spirit has ways you know not of. The woman with $8 is proof eternal that no situation is hopeless, no purse too empty, no supply too small. The law of multiplication never asks, "How much have you?" It only asks, "What will you speak? Will you bless, or will you curse? Will you obey, or will you doubt?" Choose to bless, and watch your $8 turn into thousands. Let me share with you another story, one that shines with the same law but in a different form, for it shows how the multiplying word can build a business, fill it with customers, and turn a fearful beginning into continual overflow. A woman had been working for a small salary, hardly enough to meet her needs, when one day she read my book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. As she read, a thought flashed across her mind like lightning, so bold, so daring, that at first she tried to push it away. The thought was this: open a business of your own, a tea room and candy shop. She had no money for such an undertaking, no experience, no clear plan. Her reasoning mind argued, "It is impossible. Who are you to start a shop? You have nothing." But intuition persisted, whispering again and again, "Do it. Step forward. Speak the word. The supply will come." And so, trembling but obedient, she chose to follow the hunch. She secured a little shop, arranged what she could, and began to declare daily, "God is my supply. Infinite Spirit opens the way for my abundance. My shop is crammed and jammed with customers, overflowing with prosperity under grace." She had no capital to back her business, but she spoke the capital of words, and words are greater than gold. She spoke the capital of faith, and faith is richer than millions. And the law answered her with precision. Supply came through unexpected channels, equipment was furnished, helpers appeared, and soon the shop opened its doors. From the very first day, it was filled with people. Not trickling customers, not a slow start, but crowds, so many that they stood in line and waited their turn. The shop that had no backing but faith became crammed and jammed, exactly as she had spoken, and to this day, that little candy shop remains a witness to the multiplying word. I recall one incident that shows how perfectly the law works. One day, being a holiday, her assistants grew gloomy. They said, "It is a holiday. People will not come. We cannot expect much business." But she rebuked the suggestion at once. She said, "Every day is God's day. Every day is a day of supply. My shop is filled, my prosperity flows, holiday or no holiday." And that very afternoon, an old friend entered the shop. He looked around, admired it, and said he would like to buy some candy. He ordered a 2-pound box. When he handed her the check, she glanced at it and found it was not for a few dollars, but for $100 for a box of candy. You see how the law confirms the word? She declared, "Every day is a good day," and immediately the law outpictured it in the most astonishing way. Now, what is the lesson for you? You may not be called to open a candy shop, but you are called to open your mouth and speak abundance over your work. Perhaps you are employed, perhaps you are in business, perhaps you are seeking your place. Whatever your hand finds to do, speak blessing over it. Say, "My work is blessed. My business is filled. My supply overflows. Customers, clients, opportunities, money come to me now, under grace and in perfect ways." Refuse to listen to the reasoning mind that says, "It is a holiday, it is a slow season, times are hard." Those words are curses. Replace them at once with the multiplying word. Declare, "Every day is God's day. Every day is a day of increase." And watch how swiftly the law answers you. This is the essence. Do not wait for conditions to look favorable. Speak first, and the conditions will rearrange themselves to obey your word. This woman had nothing but a hunch and a sentence of faith, and from that came a thriving business, overflowing with prosperity. Do you think spirit has less power for you? Do you think the law has lost its strength? No. The law is eternal, and it will work for you exactly as it worked for her, if you dare to speak with fearless faith. So I tell you, whatever your field, whatever your dream, whatever your work, open your mouth and call it blessed. Say it daily. Say it joyfully. Say it with authority. My work is crammed and jammed with success. My efforts multiply. My income multiplies. My good cannot be withheld. My prosperity overflows under grace. Speak it, and soon you will live in the reality of it, just as the woman of the candy shop still does to this day. Now let me give you one more case, a story that reveals how swiftly and precisely the law of the spoken word acts when you refuse to bow to fear. A woman came to me in deep distress. She said she was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. $3,000, a sum far beyond what she could see or imagine. She had no way of securing it, no resources at hand, and she was almost in despair. But I said to her, "God is your supply, and there is always a supply for every demand. Spirit is never too late. We will speak the word, and the $3,000 will appear at the right time and in the right way." At first, her reasoning mind struggled. She said, "But Florence, the 15th is almost here. There is no channel, no way for the money to come." I said to her, "Your part is not to figure out the channel. Your part is to act your faith, to speak your faith, and to expect the demonstration. God has ways you know not of, and His methods are sure." So I told her, "Give thanks now that you have received the $3,000. Act rich. Act as if the supply were already in your hands. Refuse to prepare for failure. Refuse to see yourself defeated." It was Saturday the 15th, and no money had yet appeared. She called me, trembling, and asked, "What am I to do?" I replied, "It is Saturday. They will not sue you today. Your part is to act rich. Invite me to lunch. Order an expensive meal. Show faith in action, and hold fast to the vision that spirit never fails." She obeyed, though her heart trembled. And I continued to give thanks that the money was hers on the invisible plane, and that it would manifest right on time. That evening, the most astonishing thing occurred. She was sitting quietly in her home when the maid announced that her cousin with the long white beard had called. At first she said, "Do not let anyone in." But then she changed her mind and called him back. They sat together for some time, and as he was leaving, he paused and said, "Oh, by the way, how are finances?" She told him she had need of money, and he replied, "Why, my dear, I will give you $3,000 the first of the month." She was relieved, but anxious still, for she thought, "But I must have it now. not weeks from now. Yet I told her again, Spirit is never too late. The law is at work. Hold fast. The very next morning, the cousin telephoned and said, "Come to my office. I will give you the 3,000 today." And so, before the deadline had passed, she had the exact sum in her account, and the threat of lawsuit vanished. She went from despair to joy in a single day, and her testimony stands as proof that God's supply does not fail, that the law works with precision, and that fear must always be replaced with faith. Now, what is the lesson here? If you ask for success but prepare for failure, you will always reap the harvest of your preparation. This woman could have spent her hours preparing for defeat, rehearsing excuses, bowing to fear. But instead, she obeyed the law and acted rich. She declared abundance. She ordered the fine luncheon. She gave thanks for the money, though she could not see it, and the law could do nothing but fulfill her word. And here is the greater truth: Spirit is never late. Men tremble when the hour grows short, but God does not need time. He is not bound by days or deadlines, by banks or by courts. He is the law of supply, and when you dare to trust Him, the supply comes, even in the last hour. Learn from this. When fear whispers, "It is too late," answer with faith. Spirit is never too late. With God, all things are possible. So I say to you who may be burdened with debts, drowning in obligations, pressed by creditors, do not prepare for failure, do not rehearse defeat. Stop picturing loss and start picturing every bill paid, every debt dissolved, every account in balance. Declare, God is my supply. I see every obligation met. I see money multiplying. Spirit is never late. My good appears now, under grace and in perfect ways. Hold that word, refuse to let it go, act as if it were already done, and soon it shall be done. For the law is exact, and the law is unfailing. Now that you have seen how the law of the spoken word multiplies even the smallest sum, how it has turned $2 into thousands, how it has built a business from nothing, how it has dissolved a mountain of debt in a single day, you must understand that the key is not a single utterance, but a continual discipline. The word must not only be spoken once, in a moment of desperation, but it must be spoken faithfully, rhythmically, morning and night, until it becomes the very atmosphere of your life. For words are seeds, and a single seed may sprout, but a continual sowing brings a continual harvest. If you want your purse to remain crammed and jammed, if you want your supply to multiply without ceasing, you must make the word a ritual, the foundation of your daily walk. When you rise in the morning, before you step into the day's noise, before fear and reasoning can rush in, take your purse, your wallet, your bank statement, whatever holds the symbol of your money, and lay your hand upon it. Say with power, say with joy, say with certainty, "My purse is crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. I bless my purse. I bless my supply. I bless my day, and I command abundance to appear." Speak it until you feel the vibration in your body, until the picture of lack is shattered and the vision of overflow rises in its place. See your purse heavy with bills. See your wallet bulging. See your accounts filled. The subconscious cannot resist a vivid picture clothed in words, and when you give it that picture morning after morning, it will build it faithfully in your affairs. And in the evening, when the day is over and you lay your head down, speak the word again. Do not carry fear into sleep. Do not end your day rehearsing lack. Do not close your eyes murmuring, "I hope it is enough." No. End your day as you began it, with blessing and multiplication. Place your purse beside you, feel it heavy, and declare, "I bless this purse. It multiplies while I sleep. Every dollar I spent today returns multiplied. Tomorrow I rise richer than today, for supply never ceases, and my good rushes to me from every direction." Let those words be the last you speak, and the subconscious will work all night to fulfill them. For the subconscious is most open when you drift into sleep. It receives your final words as law, and it spends the night building them into reality. If you end the day with worry, you command worry to manifest. If you end it with blessing, you command blessing to multiply. This is the secret. Your day is framed by your words. What you say in the morning sets the pattern for your affairs, and what you say at night seals it. So I command you, make this your ritual. Morning blessing, evening blessing, day after day, without fail. Do not say, I forgot. Do not say, I was too tired. You are never too tired to bless your purse, for your purse feeds your life, your family, your work. Treat it as sacred, and it will respond as sacred. And as you practice this, you will find something marvelous happening. At first you may speak the words with trembling, with doubt, with the shadow of fear pressing close, but keep speaking. Soon the words will begin to sink deep. Soon the fear will dissolve. Soon the picture of lack will vanish. You will find yourself speaking not with trembling, but with joy, not with doubt, but with certainty. You will begin to feel your purse heavy before it is heavy, and that feeling will draw the reality. For feeling is the secret, and the words create the feeling, and the feeling manifests the supply. So let it be established in you. Every morning, every night, I bless my purse. I declare it crammed and jammed with money. I command multiplication. I close my day with blessing, and I open my day with blessing. This is the ritual of wealth, the discipline of abundance, the daily sowing that guarantees a continual harvest. Do it, and soon you will marvel at the flood of money, gifts, opportunities, and supply that rush to you, for you have commanded it with your word, and your word never returns void. Now, let us speak of one of the greatest stumbling blocks in the lives of men and women, the sight of bills and the shadow of debt. Nothing seems to strike fear into the heart so quickly as the arrival of an envelope marked due. Nothing seems to crush the spirit so swiftly as a balance owed. People look at their bills with dread. They speak of them with resentment. They pay them with trembling. And in doing so, they bind themselves to a cycle of lack that never ends. For I tell you plainly, to curse a bill is to command lack. To resent a debt is to make it grow. To fear an obligation is to magnetize more of the same. And until you learn to bless your bills, you will never be free from them. Do you not see? A bill is proof that supply has already been given. A debt is proof that somewhere, somehow, value has already been extended. When you curse your bills, you curse the supply that has already come. When you bless them, you command new supply to rush in and cover them with ease. This is why I tell my students, when you hold a bill in your hand, do not sigh, do not groan, do not mutter, "How will I ever pay this?" Instead, lift it high and say, "I bless this bill. I give thanks that it is already paid in full. I rejoice that the money returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways." Speak it until the sting of fear dissolves and the joy of payment fills you. For payment is not loss, it is circulation. It is money moving out only to return in greater measure. I remember a man who asked me to speak the word that his debt would be wiped out. I began to affirm his freedom, but I soon discovered that he spent all his time imagining what he would say to his creditor when he failed to pay. Do you see the contradiction? He asked for cancellation of the debt, but he rehearsed the drama of failure. He prepared for defeat instead of preparing for victory, and in doing so, he neutralized his own demonstration. You cannot speak faith and prepare for failure. You cannot bless with your lips and curse with your imagination. You must align your inner pictures with your spoken word. When you ask for a bill to be paid, you must picture it stamped, "Paid in full." When you ask for a debt to be cleared, you must picture yourself free, released, walking in abundance. This is the meaning of digging ditches in a dry valley, as the prophet Elisha commanded. Though there was no sign of rain, the kings were told to dig ditches, and the water came to fill them. So too must you dig the ditch of faith when bills arrive. Bless them. Prepare for their payment. Rejoice in their settlement, and the supply will rush to meet your preparation. If you prepare only for failure, you will meet failure. But if you prepare for abundance, abundance must come, for spirit cannot fail to answer faith. Now perhaps you protest, but Florence, my debts are too many, my bills are too high, the numbers are impossible. I answer you, nothing is too great for God, nothing is too late for spirit, nothing is beyond the law of multiplication. The same law that multiplied loaves and fishes, the same law that turned $2 into 6,000, the same law that dissolved a lawsuit in a single night will dissolve your debts and pay your bills if you dare to bless them and speak the word of multiplication. Numbers do not frighten infinite supply. The only thing that blocks supply is your fear of the numbers. Erase the fear, bless the bill, and the numbers will rearrange themselves in your favor. So let this become your practice. When a bill comes, hold it and say, "This is not a burden, this is a blessing. I bless this bill, for it is already paid in full. Money returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. I rejoice in divine circulation. There is no loss, only multiplication." When you think of debts, do not think of them as weights pulling you down. See them as temporary illusions already dissolved by the power of God. Declare, "I am free from debt. I am released from obligation. God is my immediate supply, and every account is settled under grace and in perfect ways." Keep speaking it, and you will soon find debts disappearing, bills paid in the most unexpected ways, creditors satisfied, and your mind free to rest in abundance. For I tell you, spirit is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you reap. If you sow fear into your bills, you reap more bills. If you sow blessing into your bills, you reap supply. It is exact, it is unfailing, it is eternal. So bless every bill, bless every debt, bless every obligation, and watch how swiftly multiplication overtakes you until you no longer tremble at the sight of an envelope, but rejoice, knowing it is another chance to speak the word and witness the law at work. Now, my friend, it is not enough to speak words of faith while your actions contradict them. It is not enough to bless your purse in the morning and curse your circumstances by the way you live. To live under divine law, you must not only speak faith, you must act faith. For faith without works is dead, and the spoken word without corresponding action is like seeds scattered on stone. It may sprout for a moment, but it cannot take root. But when your actions align with your affirmations, you dig the ditch in the dry valley. You make ready the field, and spirit rushes to fill it with water, with supply, with harvest, with demonstration. I recall a man who longed to take a trip abroad. He had no money, no prospect of obtaining it, and yet the desire burned within him. He came to me and I said, "Give thanks for your divinely designed trip, divinely financed, under grace, and in a perfect way. Speak it daily, speak it joyfully, and then act as though it were already yours." So he went out and purchased a trunk, not a heavy, gloomy trunk, but a bright one with a red band around it. Every time he looked at it, he saw himself traveling, packing, boarding the ship. He had no money, but he had the trunk, and the trunk was his act of faith. And do you know what happened? In a short time, the money came in the most unexpected way, and he sailed abroad on the very trip he had claimed. The trunk had done its work. It had shown the subconscious that he believed, and the law of supply answered his belief with manifestation. Another woman desired an apartment, but had no means of securing one. Yet she longed to be established in her own place. I told her, "Buy something for the apartment, something small, something that shows you believe." She bought blankets. They were not extravagant, but they were enough to act her faith. Soon she found herself guided to the perfect apartment, and supply came to furnish it. The blankets were her digged ditch, and the water rushed in to fill it. This is the law. Prepare for what you want. not for what you fear. If you prepare for poverty, poverty comes. If you prepare for abundance, abundance comes. Too many people ask for wealth while preparing for lack, ask for success while rehearsing failure, ask for freedom while chaining themselves in doubt. And then they wonder why their prayers are unanswered. It is not that the prayers are unanswered, it is that their actions have canceled their words. Spirit cannot pour water into ditches that have not been dug. Spirit cannot fill vessels that have not been placed. Spirit cannot multiply seeds that have not been sown. So I tell you, act rich, act supplied, act free. Buy the trunk, buy the blankets, set the table for the feast, clean the space for the blessing, prepare the ground for the harvest. Do not wait to see before you act. Act, and then you will see. This is living faith, active faith, faith that moves mountains and calls things that be not as though they were until they appear. And if doubt rises, remind yourself, Spirit is never too late, Spirit never fails, Spirit has channels you know not of. Your part is not to figure out the channel, not to calculate the how, not to reason out the when. Your part is to speak the word, to act the word, and to expect the word fulfilled. As you walk in that rhythm, speaking, acting, expecting, life itself rearranges to match your faith. Doors fly open, channels are cleared, opportunities arise, and abundance flows from the invisible into the visible. So make this your new law. I will not only speak faith, I will act faith. I will not only bless my purse, I will prepare my life as if it were already full. I will not only declare my debts dissolved, I will live as one who is free. I will not only claim my right work, I will act as though it is already here. And as you do this, the law must answer, for it is exact, it is impartial, and it cannot fail. Now, beloved, you have walked with me through the whole path of this truth. You have seen with your own inner eye how the word is law, how careless speech curses your supply and multiplies lack, how the multiplying sentence spoken with faith turns even the smallest purse into a channel of overflow, how fear is faith inverted and must be dissolved by substitution, how men and women with nothing but a few dollars or a simple hunch or even a looming debt have turned their lives into demonstrations of abundance by daring to bless instead of curse. You have seen how daily practice, morning and evening, speaking blessing over your purse, blessing over your bills, blessing over every dollar released, keeps the law alive and moving until circulation itself becomes your joy and multiplication, your continual harvest. And you have seen how faith must not be idle, but active, how trunks must be bought, blankets must be laid, tables must be set, ditches must be dug, so that Spirit may rush in to fill the vacuum with supply. So I say to you as I close, money is not your master, money is your servant. Every dollar is obedient, every coin listens, every purse responds to the word you speak. Stop cursing it with complaint, stop trembling before it with fear, stop calling it fickle, slippery, fleeting. Begin this day to bless it, begin this day to speak with authority. My purse can never be depleted. Every dollar I touch multiplies and returns to me, under grace and in perfect ways. My bills are blessings, my debts are dissolved, my supply is endless, immediate, and overflowing. I walk in abundance now. Speak it until it burns into your subconscious, until your heart leaps when you say it, until you know with certainty that it is law and that the law cannot fail. And I give you this challenge. For the next 7 days, do not let a single dollar leave your hand without blessing it. Every time you pay, every time you spend, every time you give, declare, this money returns to me multiplied. Speak it when you rise, speak it when you sleep, speak it over every bill and every purse. Do it for 7 days without fail, and watch the channels of supply open, watch the unexpected happen, watch the law answer your word with precision. You will not need to strain, you will not need to toil, you will not need to figure out the channel. Spirit has ways you know not of, and Spirit never fails. And as you close this message, I bid you go on to the next. For the word of increase has many forms, and in my next teaching, I will reveal to you the sentence that dissolves every wall of delay, the word that crumbles obstacles and brings your good rushing forward without hindrance. You have spoken the multiplying word, now you will learn the dissolving word. Do not miss it, for your harvest depends on it. So I leave you with this final decree. Let it ring in your mind, let it echo in your heart, let it vibrate through your affairs. My purse is blessed, my supply is endless, my money multiplies daily. I live in abundance now and forevermore, under grace and in perfect ways. Now, my friend, as we draw this message to its close, I want you to feel the sweep of what has been given to you. We began with a single promise that there is one sentence which multiplies every dollar you touch. And across these hours, we have unfolded the law, line by line, story by story, demonstration by demonstration, until it is no longer a promise, but a certainty. For you have heard it from my lips again and again. By thy words thou art justified, and by thy words thou art condemned. You now know beyond doubt that your words are not idle, your words are not noise, your words are decrees written upon the very substance of life. You have seen how careless speech curses money and sends it fleeing, how a joke about the poorhouse becomes a destiny, how a sigh of, "I am sick of things, I wish I lived in a trunk," becomes a literal life in a trunk. You have seen how the subconscious has no humor, how it obeys every idle word as though it were law, and how the tongue, left unguarded, becomes man's greatest enemy. But you have also seen the glorious reverse, that when the word is spoken in faith, when the purse is blessed instead of cursed, when every dollar is called a seed instead of a loss, then multiplication begins, and supply overflows. We looked together at the woman with $2, who dared to declare her purse crammed and jammed, and soon received 6,000. We looked at the woman with only $8, who obeyed her hunch, blessed her little, and found herself standing in the flow of thousands. We looked at the woman who dared to open a candy shop with nothing but a hunch and the word of faith, and who saw it filled from the very first day, crammed and jammed, exactly as she had spoken. And we looked at the woman facing a lawsuit for $3,000, who prepared for victory instead of defeat, who acted rich instead of poor, and who saw Spirit deliver the exact sum, right on time, in the most unexpected way. Each one of these demonstrations shouts the same truth. The word multiplies, the word dissolves obstacles, the word opens channels unseen, the word never returns void. And you have learned the great pivot, that fear is faith in reverse, that every dread is a magnet, drawing the very thing feared, that the imagination of evil is just as creative as the imagination of good. And so you have learned substitution, to replace the picture of lack with the picture of abundance, the image of failure with the image of success, the trembling of fear with the calm of faith. You now know that every fear must be answered aloud with its opposite decree. God is my supply. My purse is blessed. My money multiplies daily under grace. And as you speak, the false picture dissolves and the true picture is established. And then we turn to you, to your daily practice. I gave you the morning ritual, to rise with blessing on your lips, to lay your hand on your purse and declare it crammed and jammed with money, to speak multiplication before you take a single step into the world. I gave you the evening ritual, to end the day, not with sighs of fear, but with words of thanksgiving, to send your subconscious into the night charged with abundance so that it builds your blessing while you sleep. I gave you the discipline of blessing your bills and debts, to hold every obligation as proof that supply has already flowed, to bless every envelope as already paid, to see every account stamped paid in full, and to know that Spirit never fails to cover every demand with supply. I gave you the law of active faith, to prepare for abundance before it appears, to buy the trunk, to buy the blankets, to dig the ditches in the dry valley, to act rich before evidence shows, and to prove by your actions that you believe. And now, at the end, I gather it all into one command. Bless. Bless your purse, bless your money, bless your bills, bless your work, bless your future, bless, bless, bless. For whatever you bless multiplies, and whatever you curse withers. Bless the small, and it becomes great. Bless the little, and it grows. Bless what you hold, and it will overflow. So I leave you with this challenge. For 7 days, do not let a single dollar leave your hand without blessing it. Speak it aloud every time. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. Say it when you rise. Say it when you sleep. Say it when you pay a bill. Say it when you make a purchase. Say it when you give a gift. Say it when you glance at your bank account. Say it when fear whispers. Say it until the words echo through your very being. Say it until the picture of lack is erased and only abundance remains. And then watch. Watch the channels open. Watch the unexpected happen. Watch the money return multiplied. Watch the debts dissolve. Watch the gifts appear. Watch the law answer your word with exactness. And when you have done this for 7 days, come with me into the next truth, for I will give you another sentence, the dissolving word, the word that crumbles every wall of delay, that shatters every obstacle, that clears the path for your abundance to rush forward unhindered. You have spoken the multiplying word. Next, you will speak the dissolving word. And with these two together, you will walk in dominion, free, supplied, and overflowing. So now, let us end with the final affirmation. Speak it after me, and let it burn itself into your heart. My purse is crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. Every dollar I touch multiplies and returns to me under grace and in perfect ways. My bills are blessings, already paid in full. My debts are dissolved. My supply is endless, immediate, and overflowing. I live in abundance now and forevermore. This is the law. This is the truth. And this is your new life, the life of multiplication, the life of blessing, the life of abundance under grace.